When I joined the Navy,
Your name?
the Waves were a very new group. I was in the first group that went into Cedar Falls, Iowa for boot camp. Later on, they sent them to New York to Hunter College. But when I went in, I had gone through business college after high school, and I fully expected to work in an office. I had thought that's a way I could help my country, would be working in the office. But when they sent us to Cedar Falls, in the boot camp, they were looking for how to send the people. This was new to them. They gave us tests and mechanical tests, and they said I was far above average in mechanical ability. What? I didn't come in to work as in the Navy, as a mechanic, but you go where they send you. And I was in the first group to the Naval Technical Training Center in Norman, Oklahoma, with I don't know how many men there. It was a big place. But we went to school with the men, and every day we were on the tarmac with the planes. And this is when I first went in. And so I have no pictures. I had some, but I threw them away. Pictures of me being in the service in Norman, Oklahoma. But I was there for 6 months, and as I said, we took the same tests as the men. They rated 10% of us, and I was in the top 10%. So the others were seamen first coming out of the school. I was a petty officer, third class, and I had the wings and propeller on my arm. So they sent me to Seattle, Washington. And this is partly what I did when I was there. I worked on airplane instruments, the flying part of the airplane. And there's some others, but okay. Anyway,
there's your patch on the other side.
Yes. Well, this is just a picture. I mean, that's a rate there. This shows some of the other girls and what they did. As I say, they worked on the planes themselves. I worked on the instruments, and which was very delicate work. It was like laboratory work, those instruments. But I complained. I didn't come in this service to work as a mechanic. I want to work in an office where I was trained to come in and where I will work when I go out. And I feel that I'm just wasting my time here. So they checked on my background and said, oh yes, we want you, because I was a college graduate and I could handle that office work easier than these girls that they sent to learn to type. And so then this is a picture of Sands Point, where I was stationed, and of course the guards in white, that's the girls. And while I was there, they asked me to pose for the second anniversary of the Waves so that the Navy and the Marines could express their appreciation for what the women did. And this is a picture that the Navy took of me for publication, which shows them saluting me, not me, what I stood for. And, that one, that's another one. But I liked working in the office, and I met this young man from New York while I was in the office. And, okay, you know what happened there. I did not want to get married while I was in the service, but he insisted. And so we did get married, and he was sent from the Navy in Seattle to be on a ship, on an aircraft carrier down in San Diego. When I joined the service, as I was one of the first ones, they wouldn't take anyone who was married to a Navy man who got married to a Navy man. But they changed that about 6 months later because of the war trying to get the women to join. So I had that paper that I wasn't supposed to get married to a Navy man, but since the law had changed on that, I took my advantage because he was being sent down to San Diego to go out in the Pacific on an aircraft carrier. I had a sister living near Palm Springs, California, and I thought, I'm going to get out of the Navy and go down to California, where I knew that when those ships went out from a base, they came back. And he was being sent because of the thing that the Navy felt they would have to go to Japan. It was before the atom bomb was dropped. But before I left Seattle, when I asked for my discharge, they wanted me to work as a civilian, if I would. And so I did. They gave me a job in charge of an office right away. So I left there, as I said, and went to California. And my husband was out when the United States was ready to bomb Japan, so he was on an aircraft carrier. And so when he came back, then we went back to New York. And it was a very nice experience. My children are very proud of me. And so that is my story.
Did you have anything you'd like to say to today's youth about how you all worked together and pulled together as a country to save our freedom?
Yes, we were. We didn't realize what they were doing. Like I say, when we went to the Naval Training Center in Oklahoma, there was no barracks for us. We stayed in the men's barracks until they could build one. And it was always something where the Navy took care of us in the best way. I mean, when they sent me on a train across the country, I went first class. And everyone always appreciated us. And that I know. I was just on this trip that honor flight that went up to Washington.
Yeah.
And they were so proud of everyone. It was a moving experience to see how people clapped and appreciated us.
After all this time.
So I've never been sorry that I joined. That's where I met my first husband. I've been married twice, but his name was Quinzer. So my name on a lot of this is Quinzer. And after he passed away several years later, I remarried. My name is now Buyck. And I would just like to say that, as I say, my daughters always thought it was wonderful that I was in the service. Well, shall we join? I said no. I joined when the country needed me. Now, you don't join just because you want to be in the Navy. You join because you can do something to help the country. And that's the way I felt.
Thank you so much for your service to our country. We appreciate your time today.